Deputy Crowe.
Good morning, Seán Crowe. I suppose there's, I don't know if the government is going to listen on this issue. There's clearly two issues that people were marching over. One was around the charges themselves, and the demand was that the charge be abolished. And I suppose the other concern was around the whole area of privatisation. And there's clearly been a huge shift in opinion in Irish society. And I suppose the government has tried to respond to that shift in society. The by-elections, the large number of people out on the streets. But what people were saying on the doors, certainly in Dublin and South West, was to me as an elected representative. And it was people not only from Sinn Féin background, Fianna Fáil background, Fine Gael background, Labour background, was that it was a tax too far. And that's what people were saying to me, that they were already, people were quite familiar with the argument in relation to water, that they were already paying for it, and they didn't want to. So the debate is supposed to be about bringing more clarity. We were told yesterday we were going to be told there's more clarity. But the clarity is not there. There's still confusion. People still don't know what they're being asked to do. I suppose, in my view, what we heard yesterday was that there was a sprat, there was a lure sent in. The lure is to catch you. You, as the fish, will grab the lure, and the next thing, the gaff will pull you out on the bank, and you're going to be left with this charge. People have choices. Yesterday, we went through a farce in relation to the minister. We were told that we were told this whole area of conservation and a cap, and then we were told that there's a possibility you actually might save money in relation to this. Save money by adopting various measures. And I suppose some of the stuff, you can save some euros, we were told by Minister Kelly. I suppose some of the ways, and we were having this conversation then when it was going on, like how can you save it? Well, I suppose if you don't flush the toilet, if you don't flush the toilet, you may save some water. Don't run the bath. Don't run the shower. Don't have a shower, maybe, Minister. We maybe skip having a shower the odd day. Maybe don't rinse. Don't. Oh yeah, you're nodding your head. Don't rinse your. Don't rinse your. When you're washing your teeth, don't rinse your teeth. Maybe grow a beard. It's the month of November, November, so maybe that's an option. Don't wash the windows. It might allow clarity in. Maybe drink beer. Drink beer. Apparently that was fairly common in the Middle Ages, that where the water wasn't, you couldn't drink the water. Don't wash your clothes, Minister. Maybe that's an option. Maybe don't swim in don't fill the swimming pool for those who are in a better position financially than ourselves. Maybe fill the hot tub with rainwater. Maybe that's an option. Eat cake. Could be an option. You won't have to boil your spuds, Minister, or your pasta. So the steamy saga in relation to Irish water continues on, and we could be facing in the future people sharing showers, sharing the bath. I don't want the tap end if my wife is listening tonight. So we're promised all this clarity. We're promised, and I suppose people will accuse us being flippant and we're not really addressing the issue. But let me assure you, Minister, I'm deadly serious in relation to this. This is a tax too far, and that's the message you need to take on board. If you're genuinely saying that you're listening to people, well, this is a regressive tax. People don't believe what you're saying in relation to this thing of water won't be privatised. That is the hidden agenda in relation to coming to Europe in relation to this, and that's what's happening right across Europe. So people don't believe you, Minister, when you say you won't privatise, and this plebiscite, which again, there's no real explanation what you mean by your plebiscite and so on. They don't believe that Irish water won't be privatised, no matter what the government says. You've lost all credibility, in my view, with the public. You've failed to listen to people for far too long, and you underestimated people's anger. And I think that's, shame and people's resolve. We table this motion to give power back to people. That's what it's about. We want to see this enshrined in our constitution. And if people disagree with us, they have the option to vote. We support for a motion for referendum to retain water service in full public ownership and prevent the privatisation now or in the future of the service. And infrastructure would, I believe, empower Irish people. It would also make water a constitutional right. The international context can teach us very much on this issue. Around the world, we're seeing how governments and private companies are trying to turn water into a commodity, to be exploited for profit and not a public resource, and most certainly not an intrinsic part of an integrated ecosystem. So it begins with move like this government and ends in disaster. So we have choices, Minister. Your membership have choices. I think people have spoken. We've seen the rise of people out on the streets. We've seen, I heard Minister Noonan talking in terms of after the large turnout in Dublin, that this was the last hurrah. But you know yourself, Minister, from your own constituency, from listening to your own supporters, that this hasn't gone away. It won't go away. And you have a real opportunity today in relation to this motion from Sinn Féin of copper-fasting the right to water. The fact of the matter is, water charges, in your opinion, are here to stay. We have a different view. We want to abolish them. The water metering programme, you say, will continue, but the options that were announced yesterday clearly are saying the opposite. There is no constitutional right to water, and yesterday, I believe, was an introductory offer from the government, a confused, complicated offer, but you haven't fooled the public. They know that once water charges are in place, that they will only go up. And the minister's saying, "Oh well, I'm predicting, I'm putting in legislation that's going to be this way for to the year 2019." We know that there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee who's going to be in government in the next election. So it's another promise, Minister, that you are putting forward. It's clear that Irish water is simply not for purpose. It's fit for purpose. I think I think there's a general consensus in the House that it's been one disaster after another. It's been characterised by excessive spending on consultants, bonuses, and cronyism. Irish water has no credibility, and neither has the government. And I don't need to make this point. The general public of all sections of society will be mobilising on the 10th of December. So I suppose that's going to be a barometer that's going to be seen by many and seen by government. I heard the Minister this morning saying that, the government won't move on this. They said completely different, of course, 12 months ago, that there was, this couldn't be done, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. And we have that shift. And I started off by saying there's been a shift in opinion. There's also been a shift in relation to government. And the fact that you have shifted, I welcome. But you haven't shifted far enough. You need to move further. Certainly on the privatisation issue, water needs to be. This is a positive proposal we're putting forward in relation to putting this into the Constitution. Also in relation to the charges themselves, whether it's 60 euros or 120 euros or whatever. It's a tax too far, and that was the message that the electorate were giving me and giving many of your party colleagues when they were calling to the door. So you have choices, Minister, like everything else. I don't believe the Minister when he says they won't move again. I think if there's a groundswell of opinion, and it's certainly what I'm hearing is, and you just listened yesterday of the Joe Duffy show, in 10 minutes, 15,000 people, 71% of those people still opposed to the charge. That's just a sample, that's just a snapshot. I suppose, like opinion polls, a snapshot. But if you're truly listening, Minister, if you're listening here to this debate this morning, I think you need to listen, and listen long and hard, and adapt your policies to follow what people are saying in relation to these two charges. End the privatisation, and to abolish the charges.